Hey everyone, Griever here as always, bringing you guys a movie review. And I know I do those very sporadically, but this is Dragon Ball Super BROLY. And the reason I'm doing this later than a lot of the other YouTubers who jumped right on it is because I just got back from the theaters seeing it. I even drove back from a snowstorm, and you know it's bad when you're going 25 kilometers an hour on a major highway, and you know if you go any faster you're going to be doing 360s in the snow. You know that, and that movie was worth it. Don't get me wrong, it took me half an hour to get home or better, and it's usually about a 12 to 15 minute drive, but I managed to get home safe and sound. The truck's fine, and I'm sitting there like, oh. Well, part of that whoa was the hype of the movie. Now, the reason I'm a little late with this, guys, a quick little background, I'll try to keep it brief, is the fact that I live in a very far eastern part of Canada. I'm not in Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, nothing like that. No major cities. So when the Dragon Ball BROLY movie was coming over here and we heard about it coming to the West, I figured, okay, yeah, the States are lucky with that stuff and the major cities in Canada. But down here, we're just a port city. I mean, we're quite important, but, we don't get that kind of treatment most of the time. So, unfortunately, I didn't even think that it would be available. And I wasn't wrong to say it because it was one theater at very select times and even select days. It wasn't playing every day. So, thankfully, I got the chance to see it tonight. And I have to say, what a movie. That, to me, was better than Battle of Gods, better than Resurrection F, better than, I don't know. I mean, there's some nostalgia to go with some of the original Dragon Ball movies, and I know a lot of people will do a comparison between the legendary Super Saiyan movie number 8 in the Dragon Ball Z franchise, and this one. And I don't think that's fair. I'm not here to do that comparison. I'm here to just look at that film as a lover, as a nostalgia, as a 90s kid who grew up with Dragon Ball Z. My first opportunity to ever see anything Dragon Ball related in theaters, the kid in me is just doing backflips and front flips and every other type of flip because it's just wonderful. Regardless, even if the movie was mediocre, it was an experience. And I really enjoyed it. I really did. So, to break down a few things, this is going to be a relatively quick review. And I'm not going to go through it scene by scene, but it will be spoiler heavy. So make sure your warning is there. Okay, we're good. Let's go. So, the backstory. Totally retconning everything we knew about what led up to Vegeta, Planet Vegeta's destruction. And the Frieza Force, and the Father Goku, and how Vegeta and Broly, and all that stuff. They redesigned most of that. And the reasoning being is that a lot of people don't know that a lot of the anime-only stuff, a lot of the anime stuff is filler. Now, for most of us who only knew the TV anime growing up, and back then we didn't even call it anime, it was a cartoon. And we watched that. Nobody knew about the manga or, what the difference between what the word canon even meant, what the word filler meant. Those weren't commonplace terms back when we were first watching Dragon Ball Z as kids. Now, it's much different. So the community is different, and it has evolved to that point. So the thing is that it's not all retcon. I didn't mind it. Let's just get that out of the... I think this was great, because now Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball and everything Dragon Ball related, he's the one who actually sat down and said, okay, here's what actually happened, this, that, and the other thing. This is his version, which is now the canon version of what happened. Because the episode of Bardock and things like that, that's all character designs and story inspired, but it's not actually written or decided by Toriyama himself. Some parts here and there I believe were, but for a lot of it, a lot of people don't know that. So for me, it wasn't so much as I called it a retcon, but not so much. It's just a new telling. Though I have to admit, I did miss the old look for Bardock. Bardock. I mean, the animation in this is 11 out of 10. This is mwah. This is the best animation I think I've ever seen in an animated film like that. That is just that. I can't get over it. I cannot get over this. How good this is. So the animation was stellar, but once again, I missed the old design for Bardock. The red bandana, a little bit of homage to episode of Bardock. We see him doing the everything final attack that he did. I call it everything because that's what he shouts in a lot of the video games when he uses this flash cannon, one-handed Kamehameha looking thing, and he shoots it at the big ball of destruction that Frieza launches at Planet Vegeta. Bit of a homage there. That was cool. I like that. But once again, missing some of the design, but didn't mind the character. Yeah, I would have liked to see a little bit of Raditz showing some emotion that his mother's dead, because it seemed like they were more of a family than like they were still a warrior race and stuff. But you think Raditz would have kind of said something like, you know, not cry or be super sad, but just kind of be like, yeah, my mother said that, I guess, before she died, and have a somber face at least about it. I don't know. I know they're supposed to be heartless, but whatever. Very long. A lot of, once again, this movie, and I like this, is, to me, I was sitting there watching it as a fan and going, this is what they need to do. You don't need to explain 100 things to me, and they didn't. They were just telling the story, including Bardock and King Vegeta and Frieza and Broly and Paragus and everything in it, but they weren't slapping on a bunch of stuff for people who might know nothing about Dragon Ball Z. It was just like, you know, you went to a Dragon Ball Z film, we assume you know Dragon Ball Z, and that is the key element that every time I do a review for anything anime related, and anything, especially live action anime adaptations, is the key thing that they need to start selling Hollywood on, is that, look, you're going to lose some of a market, but you're going to make it mint. You're going to make it if you just disregard the people that walk into a Death Note, a Bleach, a One Piece movie, whatever, a Dragon Ball movie with no prior knowledge. We're not going to sit there and you know, do explanations for the first 45 minutes of the movie, because now you've wasted half of my runtime to tell a good version of the story. So this movie, as far as I can tell, once again, nostalgia and hype and just watching it for the sake of enjoying it. So maybe it did that, but I couldn't tell if it did. I just sat there and enjoyed the film. So great to do that. What else? I mean, once again, the animation was stellar. I like the storyline. I like the introduction of these two Frieza Force characters, showing a different side, that not every single person recruited by the Frieza Force is a total, heartless, you know, maniacal Murata. And none of them are like that. Like, you got these other people, like Broly, once again, being very passive sort of idea. I like making Broly more of a good character and Xing out the whole Kakarot cried a lot sort of idea. I'm really glad for that. That was nice. That was nice. Like, finally going, okay, as Team 4-Star did, that's really dumb. But he's so cool. But that's so dumb. And it was. So thankfully they fixed that. Broly's story is fine. The story about the pelt and everything, that made me feel, though that was something missing. I wanted that dude to go up to his buddy Ba, and like, Ba looks at him and it's just kind of like, oh, you know, and he can pet him and he can sit on his tail again. And it's like, yes, you got your friend back. Because Ba didn't die. There's no indication, at least in the English dub, that Ba is dead. It's just that this is his ear that was cut off. And of course, you know, if, a wild animal perceives humans in a certain way, you know, even though he's built a friendship, now he was vulnerable, he was attacked, he's going to be even more on guard and wary than before. That friendship is gone. The trust, you lose it right away. That's just the way animals work. And a very good depiction of that in Broly's backstory. So I felt really bad for Broly, but I would have liked to see, and if there is another movie featuring Broly, I'd like to see him hanging out with Ba again. That'd be really, really cool to me. So that's the case. Once again, the introduction of the two Frieza Force characters, that was really cool. Frieza doing Frieza things, you know, that's what he does. And I like the fact that in the movie he kind of, like, when he saw what fusion was and stuff, he just gave up. He was just like, yeah, I got my shit kicked in Golden form by Broly, and this guy kicked the shit out of him. No, can't do it. Another thing, all right, so a few things that I had that I would have liked to see once again with the Broly thing. That was cool. I would have liked to see one thing. I don't know, once again, Japanese versus English, so it might have changed. But I swear that when they both, Goku and Vegeta, went Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan Blue, and they were doing the back-to-back blasts, I was under the impression that yellow being Vegeta's blast, and the fact that he kind of has forsaken Gallic Gun for a long time, I was under the impression that that was Kamehameha mixed with a final flash, but I swear I heard him say Kamehameha and Gallic, you know, and it was like, it was yellow. So it wasn't even that purplish hue that it used to have, and it's not final flash. Like, that was kind of a little disappointing to me. Would have been more epic for me if it was final flash mixed with Kamehameha. You know, so similar to what Gogeta did with the Big Bang Kamehameha, and then there's the final Kamehameha or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, that was one thing. Another thing was, I love this animation, don't get me wrong. And during the fight, it was like old school. Like, they drew it perfectly. They drew it like dark, deep black lines. That's something really missing. A lot of animators now are doing that look of what the Naruto fight between Sasuke and Naruto. A lot of people praised that fight back when, you know, I was a teenager. Like, this is so epic. Look at how fluid they're moving and stuff. But it looked so weird because you just see blurs of color and there's none of that thick black outline of the characters anymore. And I miss that. That, to me, is what makes them look good. And it feels like they're almost, when they're not drawing those lines or they're drawing them paper thin, it seems like they're not melting, but it's just not the same. The color is a little warped or feels like it's not correct. But during the fights, and Broly especially, never seemed to suffer from this. Broly was almost consistently drawn, especially in the later half of the movie, with the dark, thick black lines all over his character design. And I was happy about that. I just wanted to see that more, especially when Goku and Vegeta are attempting to fuse and Goku is shirtless. I mean, where's all the lines? Goku doesn't even look that impressive. He doesn't look like... Remember, Goku's supposed to look like an epitome of... He's supposed to look like He-Man. With muscles, like, you could grind meat on his abs, and he didn't even have any. Drawn, anyways. And that to me was just a big... That took me out of the moment right away, and I went, oh no. Like, for a movie that has $8 million to make it, and with all this great stuff, you'd think you'd take the time to make the epitome of warriors to actually have some abs. Like, it felt out of place to me. I don't know about you guys. Another thing was, I would have liked to see, that was my only real gripe, because that is the one thing that kind of took me out of the moment, you know, and I was kind of like, really? Was that a Friday sort of idea when they did that scene? But that was my only real problem. Once again, these are just things I would have liked to see, not that they needed to be there. For example, I really liked the humor that Gogeta had, and they brought back the fact that you screw up the fusion dance, you get the fat form, skinny form, all that stuff. Cool. Even though it's been done twice, once in GT with Super Saiyan 4s, and of course in the Dragon Ball Z movie with Jaimba, whatever his name is. And great callback to that spirit ball attack, the rainbow ball attack. I was waiting for that. I was waiting to see if they were going to do it, and they did, and it worked. It was fluid. It was really awesome. So I'm glad that they kept certain things about Gogeta's character as Gogeta. And the thing that I was hoping they would mention is when they were talking about fusion. And Vegeta says, yeah, I think Trunks mentioned that once, and they referenced Potara, and they referenced Vegito, and all that stuff. I would have liked Gogeta, when they first fused. I was waiting for this, is for him to say, huh, I feel like we've done this before. Or something like that, a reference to the fact that Gogeta is now canon, but is a fan favorite, even though my favorite out of the two is Vegito. And it would have been really cool to see him reference that and say all those, you know, like he's been popular, he's been in Dragon Ball GT and in a movie before, but no, and all the video games, but never mind that, you know, that would have been a cool reference point. A good reference, once again, I mean, it's a coined term now. If you use it, you're quoting Han Solo. The fact that Bardock, I mean, they're in space, they're in a spaceship, and I got a bad feeling about this. I was like, Star Wars reference. I don't care. You can't say, I've got a bad feeling about this, and say it's not a Star Wars reference. If you use it in anything current, since basically, I would say about the end of the original trilogy. So let's say the mid-'80s. After the mid-'80s, you can't say that line without it being a Star Wars reference. It doesn't matter if it was meant to be or not, or the creators never saw a Star Wars film in their life. Doesn't matter. Nobody's going to believe that. Not a single person. It would be the equivalent of somebody saying, you know, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. And saying, nope, never seen The Godfather, never heard Marlon Brando say it. Like, that's your problem. Nobody's going to believe it. So, but I'm not criticizing that. I like that because I caught that reference. And I kind of wonder, was there a couple others that maybe I didn't get? You know, I'm not much of a Trekkie or something. Was there a few more things thrown in there? That would have been kind of cool. What else? The ending of the movie. Now, I didn't stay for the credits. I knew the snow was bad, so I did leave. If there was an end credit scene, I did not see it. I did like the fact, a couple of things. I like the fact that Whis had no problem with his ultra instinct sort of way of fighting, being able to dodge all of Broly, like having no struggle. That was kind of cool. He didn't get involved, but when Broly attacked him, he was just like boom, 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 boom. That was good to see. Good references. And the fact that at the end of the film, Broly's like back on his planet, back to normal. The people are there. Goku came to help with capsules and stuff. And he's just like, "Hey, you're a good guy. We're gonna train together pretty much, and we'll both be able to get stronger as a result." Sort of idea. And he sees Broly as he thought he kind of hit a ceiling a little bit, and now he realizes he's got so much more to do. That's really cool. And I like the fact that finally at the end, and we were all waiting for it. We were all waiting for it. He says, "My name is Goku, but Broly, you can call me Kakarot." I'm like, yes! So, next film featuring Broly, he's going to say it. He's going to look up at the sky, pump himself up, and say, Kakarot. And it's going to be epic. It's going to be epic. What a great callback. What a great thing to do. Because remember, the only one who still calls him that is, of course, Vegeta. Broly is now the only other full-blooded Saiyan alive in the current story. I mean, don't count Universe 6 and blah, blah, blah. So he would have that sort of, he should call him by his Saiyan name. That's the whole idea, right? Is that Vegeta uses his Saiyan name, not his Earth name. So Broly, being a Saiyan, should do the same thing. Kind of, not really a sign of respect, just more of a, that's their thing. They're all Saiyans. They got that, right? So I really like that. References to Tarbell. Let's see, what else was there? What else? Love the whole Frieza and Bulma having very selfish, nonchalant, no world domination, no immortality, no endless Zenny. Frieza wants to grow 5 centimeters, but he doesn't want it to be noticeable because then people would know he did it and he's a poser. Bulma, same idea. 5 years she can pull it off and no one will really suspect that she had plastic surgery or a facelift or anything, or use the Dragon Balls to make herself younger. Stuff like that. Really enjoy that stuff. So there was a lot of gags. Once again, the fight was half the movie. It was great. Like the fact that it was Frieza realizing, I think he can go a step further if I do something really heinous, and kills Paragus and such, in reference to the whole Krillin made, killing Krillin turned Goku Super Saiyan. Now it's going to just blow up Broly's power and just break any restraint he had left and just make him go crazy. So, what else? The only other thing that I thought would happen is that near the end, like the Dragon Balls were going to be the solving thing. We knew that near the end of the fight. That was going to stop the fighting. But because I don't think anybody wanted Broly to die, and they built Broly up as much more of a sympathetic character this time around, rather than this dangerous brute who has to be stopped, who is sadistic. They got rid of that, which is good. I mean, he was just bloodlust. It was a blood rage. He was going into a rage mode, beast mode, sort of idea. He didn't himself have. That's not what he wanted to do, and they hammer that home a lot. So I really like that. What else? There was something I forgot to mention. Broly, Frieza, Goku, Vegeta. I can't really think of it. The Beerus being the babysitter, that was kind of cool. So yeah. Either way, the movie and the soundtrack was interesting. But I liked it. I really enjoyed the soundtrack. I liked the fact that, I mean, Piccolo was semi-relevant to, show the fusion dance stuff. Felt a little out of place there. But I'm glad that they didn't try to just shove the gang in for the sake of being there. Yamcha, Tien, Roshi, Krillin, Gohan. They didn't need to be there because they weren't going to be relevant. I like that. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I expected near the end of the fight for Goku or Gogeta to, in the end, like just about to deliver the killing blow and then do the whole split, time's up. Super Saiyan Blue sort of supposed to tax. Like once again, so this is now another, I mean, I wouldn't say they used up the full 30 minutes, but if we can have a reference again, even though Dragon Ball GT is not canon, that was the problem with Super Saiyan 4. It was too strong, so the 30-minute time limit was cut way, way down. And the same thing can be said of Vegito. Using Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan was too taxing on the Pataras. So he split before the allotted time. So the fusion dance lasting this long was interesting. I don't know how long the fight is supposed to have lasted, but it seemed that Gogeta maintained his form for quite a long time. Longer than Vegito did with the Pataras. So that's interesting that they're switching it up now, but I expected it. It didn't come. It's not a problem with the film, but I did notice it. I was expecting it to happen, and it did not. So, yeah, that's all I really got to say, guys. I'm going to be sitting here tonight and tomorrow watching other reviewers say their piece, Jack's Blade and Tekking especially, because I know they're big Dragon Ball Z fans and such. I'll probably check out a few more, probably King of Lightnings and such. But if you have any thoughts about the movie, if you disagree with any of my points, if you also agree, like, oh, I was expecting that and it didn't happen, or you can think of something that I didn't mention that you think is a big major point and I should be talking about it or discussing the controversy around it, feel free to comment down below. Once again, this has been Griever giving you guys a movie review for Dragon Ball Super BROLY. Please like, subscribe, comment, as always appreciate it, and we'll see you back here next time. I suppose the next time I go and see the next Dragon Ball Z movie. I can't wait for it, guys. We'll see you then.